Get the power to do more with Storable websites. More marketing, more engagement, more customers moving into your facility. Storable helps operators do more with the most powerful technology in self-storage. Learn more at storable.com/do-more.
All right, let's get going. So my name is Matthew Beal, and I am a product marketing manager here at Storable, and I'm your host for the Operator Imperatives webinar series. And I want to give you guys some quick context before we get started. So I want to go through a quick overview of the webinar series, kind of where we've been, where we're going. So first is 2 weeks ago, we started this new chapter of our 4 Operator Imperatives webinar series with a discussion on rethinking the tenant experience. And the theme of this conversation was that, the needs and preferences of your customers have already been shifting over the last few years, kind of towards a more digital experience. And we've definitely been seeing that in our industry. But the COVID-19 health crisis really rapidly accelerated those trends. And so we spent a lot of time discussing all the tools and the best practices that operators have available to them to meet those kind of evolving customer preferences. So if you did miss this webinar or any of our previous ones, if you head to blog.storable.com, you can see the recordings for all of those. And then today, we're going to be hosting another operator roundtable, continuing that topic of rethinking the tenant experience. And so we have some really great operators lined up here that we'll be introducing in just a moment, who are going to be walking us through kind of some of those trends and those innovations that we've been seeing to meet those shifting digital preferences of your customers. So like I mentioned, we will be introducing them in just a moment. But then in 2 weeks, we're going to be starting yet another new chapter of the 4 Operator Imperatives webinar series. And this one is going to be on a discussion of simplifying and automating processes. And so the idea behind this one is, we want to be able to provide some resources to you guys so that you can eliminate unnecessary tools, you can centralize various processes, and leverage automation to unlock efficiency both for yourself, but also for your corporate and facility staff so that you guys can spend time driving value to your business and a host of other ways. But without further ado, I do want to jump right into today's conversation. So I want to introduce Chuck Gordon, the CEO of Storable, who's going to be moderating today's discussion. So Chuck, take it away.
Thanks, Matt. Super excited to be here again today with yet another amazing operator roundtable. And so with us today, I'm happy to introduce Bill Roberts, who is the Director of Corporate Operations at StayLock Storage with 69 locations across the country. And also Mark Yandow, who is the CEO and COO of Self-Storage Management Company of California, with 40 locations that are all in California. Welcome, guys. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
So I thought I'd kick off. We've got a whole bunch of questions we can go through here, but let's go ahead and start with, before the health crisis, what kind of trends in customer behavior were you tracking, and were you already making significant shifts in your business to accommodate? And Mark, why don't we start with you?
Well, one of the things that we measure as a company is actually how much revenue we bring in with non-touch labor. And so one of the things we've been working on, we adopted SiteLink e-sign, 18 months ago, and then really tried to push that. We have we had developed some phone technology and other things, so we were just trying to get our customers. We were hopefully getting them into doing it online more often. Our website prices are lower, so they can save $15 for not doing the admin. That's what we're kind of watching and trying to monitor.
Got it. And how has that changed since the health crisis?
Well, what's changed dramatically is as a result of COVID, we shut our office door. We closed our office doors to the public on March 16th. And so their experience was they came to a closed door, and then our manager was teaching them how to rent online, pay online, because we wouldn't open our doors. Our gate hours and everything else remained the same. And I meet with my owners now on a very frequent basis because they were very concerned over their investment. And we've actually determined we're not going to open the doors until we're forced to, because we have found that we pick up 30–40% more productivity with a closed door than with an open door. And so our volume, we went from 1% online rentals to 25% online rentals. Did that in 2 months, and that's being truly online, not coming in and doing the e-sign. We consider e-sign old technology, even though it's wonderful. I mean, just getting people to accept electronic signature. And I live in a small community, and I don't have an email, and I can't do that. We've been, pushing through that resistance, and it seems to be working fairly well.
Interesting. So it's almost like, you kind of prefer almost this new way of doing things.
Well, it's interesting. We have a couple of managers that were about to be written up for their interactions with customers, and they became superstars with the closed doors. Because they literally said, "Hey, here's our product. You came for storage. It's around the, you get 30 minutes on site and then get out of here." And she filled her site and hit every one of her metrics, and she was almost written up. Prior, just because of her interaction. But she actually, we do a monthly meeting with managers to, report performance. And she goes, "This is great. I don't have to deal with anybody." So that was an interesting observation. That's not all of them, but that was one of them.
Yeah, crazy. And Bill, question for you. What percentage of your traffic is now coming online versus before? And kind of what I'm getting at is, what we've been hearing a lot from our customers across Storable's products is that the number of people who walk in, and even if they're walking in and still signing digitally today, the number of people who are doing that are way less than before. Is that what you're seeing in your trends?
Well, yeah, sure. And we actually sent everyone home at the beginning, sometime in March. So we were actually closed our stores. It wasn't really too difficult because of the technology we're already using. So they just relocated. But that lasted for, it depends. We went on based on case counts in the county and stuff, and what phase they were entering. So all our stores are open back up now. But the public has just been sort of conditioned through this whole thing to avoid, I think, the face-to-face and the walk-ins. Some people are still going to do it. But we have seen, now that we've opened back up, we are getting some traffic back in. But our online rentals, that was the sort of the star. We did a lot more phone rentals. So at our call center, they do rentals over the phone as well. And so those both, increased dramatically. And fortunately, rentals were down, but we just had our best July on record. So, it's there's, I guess, appetite out there. Maybe it was built up a little bit, but the whole thing was, fortunately, we'd sort of been preparing for it just as a result of developing as a company and going to a lot of cloud-based systems and such, and like Storage, which is web-based, so it allowed the managers just to go home and work off their iPads that we have. And so it was relatively painless for us. We did have a little bit of issue getting, with some IT, just making sure and getting everyone comfortable with the process. But after about that first week, it was smooth, and I think the public was fine with it. So,
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's it's a good story, and it's pretty consistent with what I've been hearing from others around the industry too. So another question I had was just, given the fact that so many more people are searching online, renting online, conducting business with both of your companies in a more virtual way, have you changed the way you're communicating with them? Like, have you started using more texting, or have you started sending more emails, or have you just kind of kept it as is? And Mark, let's start with you on that.
Oh, no, all the above. Part of our response to this was to immediately push our online rental capability, and along with the telephone, we were running ads: rent from your living room and then come in at will. And we saw, we do a lot of email. We've already done a lot of emailing. I think we've got 80%, 85% of email addresses across the 20,000 units. So that's been there, and then we've had our demand just went way up. Our inquiries went way up, but we were advertising a lot more, and we were advertising, every ad we had ran contact free. And so we were open, and I don't know if the demand was bigger or we were just able to capture some people looking. But our inquiries, I think we have a chart on that one. Our inquiries just spiked through there. And it's, and some of them are called, so you see that in March, we were at 1,200 inquiries, and then in May, and then all of a sudden in April, May, we're up to 1,400, 1,500 inquiries, and those numbers translated to rentals. Our run rate on rentals last year was 450 units a month. We set a goal in January as a COO. I just said, I want to do 500 and get more aggressive as we need to on pricing, and we hit 500. And when COVID hit, our run rates on our move-outs jumped to 650, 675. So we're, so the inquiries and the markets was just amazing. So on that chart you've got in front of you, 2020 is in the blue, and so in September you see we had 103 rentals in the first 3 days. We had 150 move-outs, but our move-outs are consistent. It's so, if you're trending year to year, our move-outs look parallel last year, but what does it? You wouldn't mind putting up the move-ins, Matthew? Thank you. So if you look at the move-ins, that's the net, the one before that. Then you can leave that up while we're here. So that one, all that net move-ins, so in March, we were pretty much at 0 for the year, and then we started spiking. So we're plus 948 units since COVID-19 hit. And our average unit brings in $100. It's a state, it's average up and down by size. It's just a random number, but we bring in $100 a unit, so our rent roll has gone up substantially.
Interesting. Yeah, I think this is, and to Bill's point of having a record July, this is kind of what we're hearing, and also, frankly, the numbers we see on Sparefoot, just in terms of overall volumes across the country and quantity of rentals. This is very consistent, right? Like there's a lot of activity going on right now. And I think the big question is it a pent-up demand situation, or is there a truly fundamental shift in the way consumers need and use and rent storage? Like for August to be a net positive move-in month is definitely not normal, and really seems like everyone has seen that. So I'm curious what you guys think. Is that what's going to happen in the next 3 months when normally your occupancies are coming down and rental volumes are coming down? Or are we going to see that? Bill, why don't we start with you?
Are we put me on the spot a little bit? Well, who knows what's happening, especially with the school year and stuff right now, and a lot of schools being out. A lot of colleges being online, so that's having an effect. Potentially on those people that are located near universities. But, I don't know about the demand. I would expect that probably move-outs, my suspicion is that those will stay suppressed, which is what I've seen, I guess different from Mark, but, I guess people have been putting the brakes on, moving out, moving their stuff. Now, on the other hand, you have so many factors involved. If you're out of work, you may need to scale back on your storage bill. So, we're wait and see. But, I will say that, we haven't so far, at least even in the worst of it, we decreased our rates by about 5%. So our move-in, the value on those units was about 5% below what it would have been otherwise. And that was the lowest that we ever got. And now we're back to normal and we're doing increases. So where it goes from here, anybody's guess, but so far, again, net positive August, like you said, Chuck, that's what we saw as well. Demand is strong. So yeah, I don't see it going in all to the winter like that. You imagine people it's going to slow down, but maybe we'll see a few less move outs and people just sitting tight until this whole thing is over, whenever that is, next summer, maybe.
It's a great question.
When we get the vaccine, yeah. So
interesting. Mark, what do you think about that one?
Well, what complicates that? I love my demand being like this, so I would hope it would stay like that. But that's hopeful. But one of the things I think we're seeing, we manage up and down California. We're north of Los Angeles on a place called the Grapevine, and we go from the Grapevine up to Redding, up and down the state, almost all tertiary markets. Well, we're seeing the move-outs from San Francisco and all the major cities as a result of these things that our politicians are doing. We've got a facility in a place called Turlock. We've got 3 of them. We just got a third one. We got a third contract in July, and they were sitting at 90%. We went to them, I said, I can fill your site in a month. and we didn't quite fill it, but we got up to 96.7% because I had 2 sites beating it. 2 sites that were full, because we made a conscious decision to try to be full going into school season. Had an interesting conversation with the CEO of QStrom, and he goes, statistically, this is the one you want to be full, because that way you can feed off it like a bear hibernating, you can go off it. So we had made some strategy changes early in the year, which has worked out. But right now the demand, we had 106 rentals in the first 3 days of September, and we're not open on the weekend. That was a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. One of the shifts I've seen, we have seen is that the best day of our best day of the week, we're closed Sunday, Mondays across the board, but Tuesday is our best performing day. It outperforms Saturday, it outperforms Friday, and don't know why, but we now refer to Tuesday as not Taco Tuesday, but Terrific Tuesday. So
that's interesting.
I don't know if that demand, again, so I don't, we're seeing people moving, and we're seeing people moving because of what's happening in the major cities. So we see a lot of people, we've got a lot of people from San Francisco, let me just take your storage unit. So we're, across the top, the only units of sizes we really have available right now are, we got some 5x15s that are awkward, and then a little bit of 5x5, but anything other than that is above 98% on our unit types. And we are raising standard rates. We have not done rental increases. So I see our income is gonna, I've got a lot, we normally do rent increases using SightLink every 11 months, and we've been on an 8% curve. We've been on 8% raises for the last 5 years.
Right.
We've suspended those, and so we see that we got a lot of queue to do the increases, but a lot of our counties are right now saying you can't evict, you can't do this, you can't do this, and they're applying retro. But the demand, it's been crazy, but I got too many factors in there to try to assess it.
Sure. Okay. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out for sure. Okay. Before we start taking a couple questions, I wanted to maybe spend a few moments just talking through what exactly is the consumer's experience like when they go to rent one of your units online. Bill, we'll start with you, and then Mark, I know we have a couple visuals for yours.
Well, they have the option on our website to either reserve or rent now. And of course, we're using the storage rental center. So it's that process.
Yeah.
Once they complete that, they get their, all their paperwork to e-sign, and there's some additional documents they get. Depending on what they're renting, they may get a different addenda. There's some conditional things in there, to govern the document distribution. But, they get their gate code, and then they have a lock in the unit when they go there. We do contact them the next day, or if it's, if they do it during the day, we might contact them that same day, but we get a copy of their driver's license. So they do shoot us a photo. What we do is we initiate the communication.
To you, or they email, or I'm just curious how you do that.
It depends. So we initiate the communication out of storage, right? And
Yep.
So it's explained in their documents that we want them to reply back to one of those with either a snapshot so they can email it back, or we can text them from their account and they can reply back to that text. So at that point, and then we take it and we pin it to the top of their account, so it's in their account and storage, and all the communications with those tenants is stored there.
Right.
So that's essentially the process. They pay their fees and they get a lock, and we call them to say thanks for being a tenant. Is there anything you need? Is there any an additional thing, I guess, at this point too, is for insurance. We do require insurance, but they can use their own. But we do want a copy of their declaration page from that insurance. So we follow up with them.
Text that to you as well.
We follow up with them to get that as well. Now I'm looking forward to your technology where we can put that in the rental center, and it will automatic. So if they don't give us, we give them 7 days to provide us the declaration page, and if they don't, then we add our in-house tenant insurance onto their account. So we did see, we had done that last year. So a lot of the stuff we already had in place, and we were moving in this direction. And so COVID comes along, fortunately, we were pretty well positioned, and we were already trying to do those kind of things anyway. But our online rental rate was only about 5% of our rentals previously. Now in January, it actually started increasing in February. So before any of this became apparent, or before we really knew that it was going to be an issue with the virus, we were seeing an uptick. But then in March and in April, we saw like 35% of our rentals were just online strictly. Yeah. And then other than that, we did phone rentals mostly, because our stores were closed initially. So.
Got it. All right, and then Mark, real quick, how about you? What is the actual tenant experience like for your customers?
Very similar to Bill said for some of our customers, but the other thing we had developed, or we had participated in, was the development of a phone app. And so our experience is when people call in, we recommend our managers have a little button, literally they hit a key and they send them a download link to their phone. They hit the install button that you see, and then they can manage your account. And up front, we had a little bit of learning curve because of the volume. Because when you're only doing one or two, it's no big deal. But when you do 100 of them, some of the data issues, for example, in your system will come out. All of a sudden, you've got a unit, a unit that's rented for half price because you had a promotion somewhere that you didn't remember that was, tied in. So we had to go clean up our data substantially. I mean, somebody actually wanted one of our units. It went out a standard rate of about 175 and they rented it for 50. So we saw that come in and we said, okay, we got to go work on that. So they got a good deal. They got a good deal for 9 months. So that, we just added this app, and the response to it has been tremendous. Awesome. So Bill described the process, and he could have described our process as well. He did describe our process as well. This is just one other tool that we happen to have that's done well. We collected $140,000 in payments through the phone in August.
Wow, it's amazing. Well, this is really good stuff, guys, and impressive to see how both of you, were already adjusting, but have really just accelerated the shift to everything happening online in the last 6 months or so.
Chuck, what makes that feasible, though, is your staff, right? So we were able to integrate, again, SiteLink is our baseline, and so everything we've got runs through that. It was actually interesting. I took over a facility that was running the U-Haul software, and what a disaster. Just a disaster.
I didn't pay you to say that.
Huh? I know that. Don't strike me down.
I wanted to make one comment about something which has been potentially a very nice benefit from all this. Is I'd wanted to, as a merchant, handling cash is a pain, right?
Yes.
You have to go to the bank. You have to be away from the office to go to the bank. You've got theft issues with employees with cash. So we kind of wanted to do that, but there was fear of pulling the trigger on that. We have some areas that are more dependent on cash. This allowed us to, abruptly stop that everywhere. And now we're going to try to hold on to that and see how it goes. Okay. And so that will be a big benefit for us, actually.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. It's just,
I think Mark might be in some areas where they require you to take cash. I don't know. Maybe that's just Berkeley or San Francisco, but.
Oh no, they've got those. We've tried. There's a couple of sites we are going to go no cash with, but we've been told that the homeless people have said they're going to sue us if we do. In California, that's a real thing. So, but we did see, on your point, Bill, our run rate on cash was $200,000 a month prior to COVID, and it's now down below 100.
Wow.
And that was just natural tendency, because I think those cash customers didn't want to come in, so they said, "Oh, we can pay on the web, we can pay here." So we started. I think we saw, because our credit card payment, our credit cards absorbed that entire, the shift went from cash to credit cards, and hopefully we can continue. That would be a great trend to continue.
Yeah,
that's really good. Okay, guys, we only have a couple minutes left, so let's check with Matt to see if we had any questions come in from the audience.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so we had a couple. One should be pretty quick. Mark, you had brought up kind of these changes that you're seeing in intra-week like demand, and you specifically called out like Tuesday, just some interesting trends that you're seeing about when people are moving in. And someone in the audience had asked, like, Bill, they're curious, are you seeing kind of similar things? Are you seeing some different things, whether that's, within a month, within a week, in terms of trends?
We haven't seen that, and based on our call volume in move-ins, both Monday and Fridays are our biggest days. Actually, Monday is the biggest. Now we're closed on Sunday, which maybe is part of that, but actually Tuesday is our slowest day. It has been, based on our call volume at our call centers.
Oh, too funny.
I guess people are waiting; they can't wait, and then they get it done on Monday, and then so.
But Mark, you said you're closed on Mondays, right?
We're closed Sunday and Monday.
Okay. So
there you go. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, Matt?
Yeah. So let's see. We'll go with this one. The other one is, we talked a lot about today kind of what we're doing for our tenant experience, which is, of course, what we were supposed to be focused on. But a question came up a few times, which is, what kind of tools are you guys equipping your managers with to accommodate these kinds of changes in behaviors?
Oh, I'll take a sample. Well, with our managers, we've actually been very focused on the manager experience this entire way. We've provided them, they've got the website tools. They've got, they have one tool they have right now is that their doors are closed. I actually think that is a tool, but the Spider Door app has been amazing. And the other thing that we did is we implemented a new bonus program for our managers. If they, for them to hit, if they could hit 5% receivables and 5% vacancy, we put them into a club. We call it our SSMC 5x5 club. And that has engaged them throughout here. I put out daily reports to what our target income is for the portfolio, and I let people know where we're at in terms of move-ins and that. And we've tried to engage them. So they've got an email they get every morning that takes them 15, 20 minutes to read, because there's some videos in there. Like for our move-ins, we do a Letterman top 10. So they get to see. I put some, some cartoons and some humor to try to back it up. So that was one of the things we've done for the manager. And then the award has seemed, that tool may not be a tool, but it is a tool, because they've got goals, they've defined, they get bonuses. And so that has become a tool. That's what I got to say. Bill?
So I guess what we did for them, there was concern, early on, there were people that were expressing concern about going into the office, even though it was closed. Everybody was locked down at home, right? So we allowed all the managers to be at home. Even our call center, they were working from home, which is relatively easy. They all have mobile phones, and then we have a cloud-based phone system, which is Ring Central, and so with an app, so they can use that. They had iPads. We have iPads in the stores for e-sign, but they took those home, and they were actually able to do, move-ins and the like on the iPad over the phone, and do payments and that kind of thing. We also have, we've installed about 40 of your cloud-based gate systems. Yeah. So cloud access is the PDK when it's integrated with storage, and the benefit of that is, easy control. In fact, you can control it on your phone if you need to open a gate, or and you can give passcodes and that kind of thing if you need to, as well. And actually, we were just starting to roll out our cloud-based DVR camera system when this hit, so unfortunately, we just barely missed it. But so we have all of our stores on. It's a web-based camera system, so all the managers can easily view their properties remotely. So they didn't actually have to, they were going there on a regular basis, but not every day. So they were able to then check in easily for, all the stores they're responsible for, and which is good for us, but it also, gave them more information at their fingertips to kind of stay on top of things. So.
Sure. Oh, that's great. Okay, well, we are at time, so thank you both, Bill and Mark. This has been a fantastic webinar today. Really appreciate your time and your expertise, and I will hand it back over to Matt.
Thank you, Chuck. Yeah, I'd love to just double down on that sentiment. Bill, Mark, we really appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you for sharing those insights. So as a quick reminder for the members in attendance here, in 2 weeks, we are going to be starting a new chapter of our 4 Operator Imperatives webinar series on a discussion of simplifying and automating processes. And as a reminder, kind of the concepts here are, we want to be able to share some resources with you guys so that you can eliminate your unnecessary tools, centralize your processes, and then also leverage automation to unlock efficiency for both yourself, but also your corporate and facility staff. So that you can spend time driving value to your business in a host of other ways. Some of those other ways we heard from our panelists today. And so be on the lookout for an email from the Storable team for that webinar early to mid next week. But with that being said, that concludes today's webinar. So if you guys do have any questions that come up throughout the week, we did get quite a few we didn't get a chance to get to. So we will follow up with you guys. We have your email addresses within the next few days. But if you do have anything else that comes up after, send us an email at webinars@storable.com, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. But to all of you guys out there, stay healthy, stay safe, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks for our next webinar. Have a great day.
Get the power to do more with Storable software. More automating, more control, more revenue, more time back in your day. Storable helps operators do more with the most powerful technology in self-storage. Learn more at storable.com/do more.